So this is Garth Brooks, The First 5 Years. And it says on the side, or the spine, it says The Anthology Part 1. I didn't look to see if there was a Part 2. But this was at Ollie's for $5.99, and what you get with this is this attractive slipcase. It says first book ever written by Garth. 240 pages of Garth's memories, 5 albums with over 50 songs, 19 new or unreleased versions, and over 150 never seen photographs. So for $5.99, it's a good deal if you're a Garth Brooks fan. My wife likes the Chris Gaines thing he did, and I don't know if that song's going to be on here or not, so I'm kind of curious. But living in Alabama, I like a lot of music. I'm not like strictly a country music person, but I do like a lot of Garth Brooks music. So I was curious to see what kind of music would be on here. And for $5.99, that's a lot of music. You can put it on your computer, listen to it on your phone. It says celebrate the music and stories that help make Garth Brooks the #1 solo artist in American music history. This anthology includes a 240-page hardcover book with hundreds of never-before-seen photos and 5 CDs with 52 songs, including 19 new or unreleased demos and first takes. Give this year's most wanted holiday gift, the Garth Brooks Anthology. And I wonder what year this came out in. I don't know. I haven't heard from Garth Brooks in a long time. I hope he's well. So we're going to open this up, and in the back, this is just a little sheet you can take off so you can have your whole slip cover. I'm going to pull out the contents of this box, and there is a book, Garth Brooks, The Anthology Part 1. And I should have looked. I didn't realize this was a 2-parter, so they might have Part 2 down there too. I'll have to check. On the back, there's a picture of Garth Brooks, and it says, "Oh my goodness, I just finished reading your book and I'm just blown away. I mean, I know I was there during a lot of this time, and I even interviewed for the book, but I'm still amazed at how much I didn't know about what went on in those first 5 years." And this is signed by Trisha Yearwood. This is a little blurb on the back of it. So, and on the front cover, there's a picture of Garth Brooks, and we open it up, and I think here is the CD set, yeah. So here is all of the years: 1989, 1990, 91, 92, 93. You know what this reminds me a little bit of? Back in the 90s, the Beatles anthology had come out, and they put out big CDs with all of these songs from the Beatles, and also demos and studio recordings and stuff. And I think me and my mom watched. There was also a television special, and my mother and I watched it, and it was something to watch. And we were following it. We bought the CDs, and we really enjoyed that. So here's all these nice CDs laid out. I'll put this foam back here. And here's the track list. Alabama Clay. I wonder if the Chris Gaines thing is in. I don't know if the Chris Gaines even happened yet. I don't think it did. picture of a recording studio. Good paper. This is good quality printing. Put out by Pearl Records and Milcher Media. And then the chapter list. And it's broken up in years from 1989 to 93. Lamb Studios, Stillwater, Oklahoma. And here, this is Garth Brooks playing in college in Oklahoma. And these look like publicity photos or pictures for CDs. I think it's for CDs. So he's going from wearing college clothes to buying Western gear. He was pretty popular when I was in high school because I graduated in 93. So obviously I think he was at the top of his game at that point. But my favorite artist in the 90s was Clint Black. And when I lived in Texas as a kid, my dad ran a feed store in Chico, Texas, and this was the early 80s, from 1980 until 1984, and we listened to the local radio there in Wise County, and it played a lot of 70s and 80s country, and that's what I grew up on, and that's probably what I'm most partial to. Songs like Glenn Campbell and Charlie Daniels and Willie Nelson, those are the artists that I grew up on that really speak to me more than I think I was a little too old for Clint Black for Garth when he came out, because at that point I had around the time Garth Brooks had really become popular, I was listening to Nirvana and Soundgarden and a lot of the Seattle music of the 90s. That was what I was really into, and in addition to that I listened to Aerosmith and Pearl Jam, and I listened to a lot of that music, and I didn't listen to as much country then, and I kind of grew to like country again after I joined the military, because I started appreciating it, and so this is, if you like Garth Brooks, this is definitely a good deal. And I think I like him enough, and I'm going to enjoy listening to these CDs. And I think for me, this was a happy thing to find for $5.99, because you've got a book and you've got a lot of music. And I know a lot of people consider CDs to be obsolete. When was this put out? Because this was put out in 2017. I mean, this is seriously less than 3 years old. So, or right at 3 years. And that's a little bit funny, because I think CDs have been obsolete for over 3 years. So that may be why this wasn't like a real hot seller, because a lot of people have moved past CDs. By now, many people have. And I'm starting to as well. With Apple Music, and I listen to that more now with that little subscription, because I can listen to pretty much anything I want. And a lot of my CDs, I've just burned them onto my computer. So then I have like a playlist I can always tap from if I'm looking for something to listen to. This is how he writes music. So he doesn't write it like the way I was taught in music class. It almost looks like math equations. That's interesting. So, yeah, the time that this book covers was my high school years. So, and I was not really a country and western guy in my high school years. I was more of a more modern music and classic rock kind of guy. And I was actually at this point too starting to start my interest in old music from the, the the turn of the century through the 1930s, and which is remains some of my favorite music ever is big bands or the old starting with ragtime all the way through right around the end of World War II is my favorite period of music. And I think one reason for that is because it reminds me of Christmas music. And a lot of our favorite Christmas songs are old big band songs. And I think Christmas is my favorite time of the year. So when I listen to that old music, it sort of gives me a festive kind of spirited feeling no matter what time of the year it is, and helps keep me happy. It's one of my tricks. So, because you have to psych yourself out a lot in this life to stay happy. You can't just flip a switch and turn so you have to constantly devise ways to fool yourself into thinking that things are happier than they are. And sometimes things are like right now. It's really hot today. I went out, had to wear a mask. It's burning up out there. This coronavirus is just going on and on and on, and I think that people are tired of it, and but you just still have to find ways to be happy through it. You still have to make the most of your situation. It's not ideal at all, but it's the most important thing is to do good work, keep your spirits up, be kind to each other, be understanding of other people. Those are the most important things to live by. Lonesome Dove, I think he did a song for Lonesome Dove, and I remember I was in high school. I was like with a friend of mine, his girlfriend, and I was in the backseat of the car, and they were holding hands and they were singing along to this song, and I was in the backseat just kind of like, because I had a lot of friends who were into country music, but and I was just like, I need to watch that movie. I ended up watching Lonesome Dove and really liking it. I don't know if the song has anything to do with the movie or not. In Lonesome Dove, let's see. Go tell me. Let's see if it tells me. It doesn't mention the show, I don't think. So, I don't know. That's a mystery. Some of you Garth fans can chime in and tell me. I remember those shirts were a big deal in the 90s too. The rodeo kind of style. And then there was a movie. See, I went to school and I went to high school in Arizona. And it was a very country oriented town. And this movie called Pure Country came out that year. I think Randy Travis was in it, and line dancing was really big. And I remember that's when first time I saw line dancing, I was like, this is nothing like the country I grew up with in Chico, Texas. Because I grew up with, the old 70s and 80s country that was, about pickup trucks and beer, working, working all day and not making a good paycheck and trying to support your family. And those were the messages of old country that I grew up with. And there was no line dancing or anything. There was, country music dancing, like a guy and a girl, but not really like this line dancing thing. So all this stuff just was different for me. My idea of country was just a much different thing. It was a whole different thing. But when I lived in Chico was a cow town. I mean, me and my dad would go out and feed cattle right on the prairie from a feeder and being towed by a pickup truck. So, I mean, so it just didn't, to me, it didn't, I couldn't really reconcile that with a lot of the country that came out in the 90s. It just seemed more like rock with cowboy hats on. I, I don't think I've ever heard any scandals about Garth Brooks, and that's pretty good. Oh, what Pure Country wasn't Randy Travis. It was George Strait. So please, if you, someone's probably already left that comment, but it was George Strait, not Randy Travis. I get him all confused. Randy Travis has had some rough times. I liked it. I liked Randy Travis's voice in his music. I didn't listen to a lot of George Strait. Like I said, Clint Black was my favorite of all the '90s country singers. I didn't really. But when it comes to my favorite country singers ever, it's going back a few years. David Gant, Ty England, Mike Palmer, Garth, Steve McClure, James Garver, and Tim Bowers. It's a nice, handsome book, and it's a nice set. I think that putting out a CD anthology set may be an outdated thing to do these days, because people are really, really turning towards digital platforms. And I think the same thing could be said for putting out a DVD or Blu-ray set. Because we have a lot of Blu-rays and DVDs, and now we pulled them all out of their cases, and Mary bought some boxes, some long boxes that are about the same width as a DVD, and she's just putting them in little paper sleeves. So, but like tonight we're gonna watch Into the Spider-Verse, and we're not gonna watch it with a DVD, even though you could buy it at Redbox for like $3 or $4. We are gonna watch it digital. And I know I said the other day about buying a DVD on Redbox is cheaper, and it is. It's cheaper in a lot of ways, especially when the internet's going out a lot. So, but all things considered, I guess I go back and forth on that. So forgive me for that. I do. Sometimes I think it makes more sense to own the Blu-ray. And other times I just don't want to have any more things, any more clutter. It is interesting how he writes his music. That's kind of cool. I think the book is put together really well. Time is the true test of sincerity. So when you see the cowboy, he's not ragged by his choice. He never meant to bow them legs or put that gravel in his voice. He's just chasing what he really loves and what's burning his soul. Here he doesn't look like a cowboy. He looks like he's going to go to an art exhibit with that black turtleneck. Yeah, that's a cool picture. Big Coliseum. And the acknowledgement. And the in papers. So that's it. Some CDs and a book and a slipcover. All for $5.99. And with that, I hope you enjoyed the video. And please click the bell icon, rate, comment, subscribe, leave a comment. And I'll see you next time. Bye.